Chapter 10, Abuelita's Kitchen. Whenever Amalia was alone, thoughts of Abuelita filled her mind. She would find herself wishing she could ask her grandmother, "What will we bake today?" Or, "Did you get any new letters from Mexico?" She could almost hear Abuelita's reply, "Let's see. What would you like to bake?" Or, "Shall I tell you what your tia Amalia just wrote?" Remembering her distinct voice so clearly lifted her spirits for a moment. But then she would realize her grandmother was gone, and she would feel her heart sink. During the day, she would keep busy, and her parents continued to be very supportive. "Are you okay?" her mother asked. "Yes, Mom, I'm okay," was always her reply. "Do you need anything? Shall I drive you someplace?" her father offered. "I'm good, thanks," she'd say. But she knew she did not feel okay. The problem was that there was no way to tell anyone what she needed, because what she needed was her grandmother, and no one could give her that. Every night, her parents tucked her in and lingered in her room until she fell asleep, exhausted. In the morning, she would wake up very early and would stay in bed pretending to be asleep, with the memories of her grandmother swirling in her head like scenes from a movie. Playing those moments over and over in her mind was the only thing she truly wanted to do. The more she replayed those scenes in her head, the more Amalia realized that time shared with her abuelita was more than a nice time creating wonderful treats or sharing family stories. Abuelita had provided her with a sense of belonging. There was a time in particular that Amalia remembered now, a time when she had been very troubled and felt trapped in a problem. She had thought and thought about how to undo something she had done and had finally decided to talk to her grandmother about it. 2 years ago, before Martha began accompanying her to Abuelita's home, Amalia arrived one Friday feeling very confused and did not know how to approach her grandmother. She spent longer than usual working on her homework, but finally she gathered enough courage and said, "Abuelita, I want to talk to you about something." Without making any comments, Abuelita disregarded the ingredients she had been setting out on the kitchen to make the chocolate cake, and instead filled one of her cut crystal glasses with mango juice. Amalia was surprised because her abuelita used those glasses only on special occasions. Then, abuelita placed the glass along with a cup of coffee and some cookies on a serving tray lined with one of her embroidered napkins, and in a very adult tone, invited Amalia to go sit with her on the sofa. After placing the juice on the coffee table in front of Amalia, her abuelita said softly, "Would you like to tell me what is bothering you so much?" At first, Amalia could not find her voice. She felt both ashamed and unhappy about what she was holding inside, but she also felt relieved. By treating her as she might one of her adult guests, Abuelita had made Amalia feel grown up. In a way, it comforted her, but it also made her feel worse about disappointing her grandmother, and it took her some time to begin speaking. Finally, she said, very softly, with her eyes downcast, "One of my friends has done something wrong, and she doesn't know how to undo it." After a brief pause, she added, "I don't know how to help her." Abuelita patted Amalia's hand, saying, "If you talk about what has happened, maybe you will begin to find the solution." Amalia then told her, with shame in her voice, "My friend has taken something that did not belong to her. She did not mean to keep it, but now she cannot put it back. She wants me to help her, but I really don't know what to do." Her voice broke down and her eyes got moist. "Even if what happened can't be undone, tell me what would be the best solution," her grandmother said. The best thing would have been for her not to take it in the first place. Although it is not possible to go back in time, tell me why this would have been the best idea. In thinking about why, you may find the answer. "Well, It would have been good because the person whose stuff she took would have it back, and no one would feel bad. Well, it seems to me you have your answer. Abuelita took a sip of her coffee and a bite of a snickerdoodle she and Amalia had baked the week before from a school recipe. After some silence, she continued, "What is it that your friend took, and from where?" By then, Amalia was sure her grandmother knew they were talking about her and not a friend. So, after thinking for a moment, she said, "I took some DVDs from school. They were in a box at the end of a hallway past the principal's office and the library." As soon as the words were out of her mouth, Amalia felt as if a weight had been lifted from her chest, a weight that had made her feel so bad for 2 long days. She continued speaking at a faster pace. "No one ever goes there. I don't know why the box was there. I thought I could take them, watch them, and put them back. Nobody would notice." "I see. Were they new DVDs?" "Yes, they are new," Amalia answered. "Once I realized that only the top one was open and the others had never been opened, I didn't open them. They're about the history of sports. I have them right here in my backpack. They probably belong to Miss Neves, our coach," she added with even more shame looking at her shoes. "Was there anyone else with you when you took them?" "No, there was no one," Amalia said confidently. "Well then, what should be the next step?" Amalia wished her grandmother had not asked that. She realized that she had hoped that her grandmother was going to make the problem disappear, but that wasn't going to happen. It was her problem, and she was going to have to solve it. There was a long pause. "Do you think I need to go to the principal?" "Well, it seems to me you could explain the situation to her, just like you explained it to me." Amalia could not imagine herself speaking to the principal. She had known Mrs. Armas since she started school in first grade, but had never spoken to her directly. And although the principal seemed a nice person, she was also very strict. "Oh, I don't think I can do that." They both remained silent for a while. Amalia felt very disappointed. Speaking to the principal was a very hard thing to expect her to do. So once again, she tried to see if her abuelita could take care of the problem. She asked, "Couldn't you take them to Mrs. Armas, please?" Amalia tried to use her most endearing voice, but her grandmother looked at her without a smile. "You took the DVDs, Amalia. You need to face the principal." Amalia looked down once more and then heard her grandmother say, "But I'll tell you what, I will go with you. Leave the DVDs with me. I will meet you after school on Monday and we will go to your principal's office together." Amalia gave a big sigh. Gonna see the principal terrified her, but with Abuelita there, it would be easier to do. "Are you gonna tell my parents, Abuelita? Please don't." "No, I'm not gonna tell them. At least not for now. First, let's see how the talk with your principal turns out." Just then, they heard knocking at the kitchen door. "Am I early?" Amalia's father asked as he noticed all the cake ingredients sitting unused on the kitchen counter and no familiar smell of baking. "No, we're just finishing up," Abuelita said as she started putting the cake ingredients away. "Maybe should come over Monday afternoon. I can pick her up from school." "Why? Is something wrong?" he asked as he helped himself to some of the Mexican chocolate Abuelita used for baking. "No, things are going very well," she answered calmly. "On Monday, Amalia and I can finish the cake, and there will be some for you to take home also." Sensing that he suspected something, she added, "It will be the strawberry dulce de leche cake you love so much." Amalia's father smiled happily. Abuelita's cakes were all delicious, but the special vanilla cake, layered with strawberries and dulce de leche, that Abuelita made each year for his birthday was his favorite. It would be a special treat precisely because it was not his birthday. Finishing his piece of chocolate, he replied, "Okay, I will pick her up from here after work on Monday." Amalia hugged her grandmother and, after thinking for a moment, said, "Your kitchen is the best place in the world, Abuelita."